Austin back up somehow. Oh, another kick. Austin, he got it! The starter! Austin is the champion! Stone Cold! Stone Cold!
That's it from today.
Welcome to the Tea Drop, where the brew is strong and there is lots to talk about. This week, Triple H sat down with Busted Open Radio, which is part of now the new branded WWE Radio on SiriusXM. And he had quite a bit to say about the noise online, about the fans who critique his creative decisions, about passion, about narrative, about the business. And on the surface, some of it was thoughtful. Some of it was a PR package and polish. But some of it, when you hold it up to the receipts, tells a different story. A very different story. So today on the Tea Drop, we're going through his Busted Open Radio sit down, quote by quote. We're going to be going everything, checking what's fact and fiction about it. We're running the tape on what he said before. And we're asking the question a lot of people are asking since the interview dropped. Is Triple H being genuine? Or is this damage control with a smile on it? Let's get into the drop. The quote that set the timeline on fire online and social media went like this.
It's whether we're doing something right or we're doing something wrong. I love that passion. I love it. It's amazing. They're not always going to agree with everything that happens. You know, it's a funny thing though in this business now, because of the paradigm has shifted to some degree of everybody knows now kind of what it is. And we've opened that, you know, wide open with Unreal. And, you know, it does make me laugh sometimes when I see the old timers or legends in our business talking about they give away too much and they tell people the insider stuff too much. Meanwhile, they're on a podcast where they do exactly that every single day and have been doing it for years. It's okay when they do it, right? Like, but that passion is what drives people, right? And It's no different than the NFL, where, you know, guys that have never played a down of football in their life or haven't played since Pee-wee or whatever are screaming and ranting, this coach sucks, he knows nothing about football, doesn't understand the games, why would he run that play, why wouldn't he do this, why would they draft that guy? Like, there's millions of reasons why, but it's that passion. And just like the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball, people sit on their couch and yell, and I'm done, I'm never watching the Knicks again, they suck, and then they win, and now they're the greatest thing ever, and, you know, people are turning out in droves. So it's amazing, it's passion, it's at the end of the day, it's why we do what we do. I wish sometimes we could put that passion into the talent now, as opposed to, you know, it's like when somebody gets heat in our business, it's like, God, why would they write that way? As opposed to like that no good piece of crap, right, did this, or, you know, there's some, I wish people could buy into sometimes, like there's something to saying that innocence of not knowing and it's still being real to me, damn it. But it is what it is. But I love that. I love the hate. I love the love. It's all passion for what we do.
Now, on the surface, that's a great answer. That's the answer you give when you want to look unbothered, secure, and in control. He compared critical fans to NFL fans, screaming at their TVs about a bad coaching call. People who have never played a down of football in their lives are convinced they know better than the coach. And that passion is what drives viewership. He's not entirely wrong about that. But in the same interview, in the same breath, he said something that quietly contradicts the whole thing. And he says, I wish sometimes we could put that passion into the talent now. As opposed to when somebody gets heat in our business, it's like, God, why would they write that way? So he loves the hate. He just wishes you aim it somewhere else. He loves the passion. He just doesn't love it being pointed at the creative team. That's not, I love the hate. That's, I love the hate when it isn't about me. And here's the thing about the NFL comparison. He brought it up so we kind of have to go there. NFL fans scream at coaches because the outcomes are real. The game is genuinely competitive. Nobody writes the score for NFL games. When an NFL fan is furious about a play call, they're reacting to a real decision with real unscripted consequences. Wrestling is scripted. Triple H writes the outcomes. He writes the final results. So when fans critique the booking, they're not armchair coaching a sport. They're reviewing the critical decisions of the person holding the pen. That's not irrational. That's watching a TV show critically and having an opinion about its written. The same way we review there's critics reviewing TV shows, movies, people sharing opinions about those, whether it's they didn't like how it was directed, how it was written, how the story was converted to television. Same thing. You can't use that when you already said in the past that wrestling's like watching TV. So you can't use the NFL debate or the NFL reasoning. You can't do it. It's not working for you. And the person who wrote the show going on radio to say fans shouldn't critique the writing? That's an interesting choice, man. Triple H's broader point in the interview was that a lot of what fans argue about online isn't how WWE internally views its talent. Fans build narratives. Those narratives snowball, someone gets buried online before WWE has even finished their story. And look, there's truth in that. Social media absolutely amplifies everything. We know that. One bad segment becomes a burial online. One missed push becomes a conspiracy online. That is generally how the IWC operates sometimes. But, hear me out. In this same week of media appearances, Triple H also said 99% of the time in this business, the person gets over, then gets the push. His words, 99%. So let me ask you a genuine question. Where does LA Knight fit in that 99%? Because LA Knight had crowds doing the yeah call and response. It was responding like it was 1999. He was organically one of the hottest acts on the roster. Fans weren't creating a narrative around him. They were reacting to him live in the building every week. And he spent a significant stretch in feuds that should have been a rocket ship and turned it into a holding pattern for LA Knight. Now, maybe WWE sees it differently in that writing room. Maybe the internal timeline is exactly as Triple H describes. That's the whole argument. Fans don't see the full picture. But if the gap between how WWE views its talent internally and what fans experience watching the product keeps growing wider, at some point, you have to ask, is that a perception problem or a communication problem? Because fans aren't inventing frustration out of nothing. They're reacting to a product, and if the product creates confusion, some of that lives on the creative side. Now, Triple H also spoke about WWE's strategy of direct fan communication. WWE Radio, Unreal on Netflix, press conference, podcast. His argument is that WWE is leaning into transparency. More access, not less. And I actually want to give him credit for this because more of these conversations is better for the business. It creates discourse. It creates moments like this one. But Triple H also did something interesting in the same interview. He called out veteran wrestlers and legends who criticized WWE's for showing too much, for opening the curtain too wide, while those same veterans and wrestlers do it every day on their own podcasts. And he's right about that. That is hypocritical of those critics. But here's the flip side of that curtain that Triple H didn't address. Unreal is on Netflix. It is a documented series about how WWE makes television, and it centers, for the most part, on Triple H in the writer's room, making decisions on camera. So fans no longer have to wonder who runs creative. They have a name, a face, a confirmed room. And I know what some people will say in the comments. Maybe it's just a hoax. Unreal is not real. It's another scripted thing to make fans go crazy and whatever. And you might be right. But when you present it as this is the real thing, people are going to criticize you as if it was the real thing. So either tell us it's a mockumentary like The Office, or it's not. Because at least maybe then fans will give you guys a break. But for now, they don't think it's Unreal. It's like The Office, a mockumentary. Nothing is real in that. And they're treating it like the real thing. And then Triple H goes on WWE radio to say he wishes fans would focus on the talent and not the creative team? Bro, you cannot open the curtain and then be surprised that people are looking at what's behind that curtain. That is not a fan problem. That is a strategy that creates its own consequence. Now, this is the quote that is going to split your comments. Triple H said, explicitly on record, we don't have to pretend we're a real sport. We're a show, a movie, a TV show, a series about a sport, but the physicality is real. The emotions are real. It's hilarious you say that, even though prior to this you said to don't treat it like the NFL with coaches. Dude, you're contradicting yourself in the same interview. That is, regardless of that, that is a genuine honesty in that the wrestling business has avoided for decades. The protect the business era is pretty much dead. Everyone knows at this point, Triple H is acknowledging that it's not a sport and it's just pure entertainment. And in isolation, I respect the transparency of that. But if wrestling's a TV show, a series about a sport, then it should be held to the standards of a TV show, a movie, and so forth. And what do I mean by that? Storytelling, character arcs, consistent narrative payoffs. And when those things don't land, fans have every right to critique the show, including the guy that you fired from ESPN probably. The same way we critique any other show on television, any movie that goes out in theaters. You cannot tell fans it's entertainment, not sport, and then also be annoyed when they review the entertainment critically. You should be appreciative of that and figure out how to make it better. You gotta pick a lane. Either wrestling is a sport, in which case the results speak for themselves and criticism of outcomes is part of the deal, or is it a TV show, in which case the writing gets reviewed, the showrunner is accountable, and Triple H as the chief content officer is the showrunner. He chose the TV show framing. The audience is reviewing it like a TV show. He sets that expectation himself. Now, before we close this up, I want to give credit where it's due, because in the same week of media appearances, Triple H said something genuinely compelling about Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. He said Brock Lesnar has been hands-on with Oba, that they sit in Brock's room for hours, that Brock does not get the credit for being as good as he is. And Oba himself confirmed it. He called Brock's public endorsement a swerve, meaning even he didn't see it going public the way it did. That's the story wrestling needs more of. Brock Lesnar, who spends years as one of the most polarizing acts in WWE, sitting in a room for hours passing knowledge to a man who could be the next generational talent. That is investing in the talent. That's the thing Triple H says he wishes fans would do. And ironically, he illustrates it himself. Now, not with a podcast, not with a press conference, with a story. That's the point. If you want fans to stop critiquing the creative team and start investing in the talent, give them characters and stories worth investing in, not a lecture about how to watch wrestling. Triple H went on WWE radio this week with a message that comes down to one line. Your passion is valid, just aim it at the show, not the creators. And look, As a philosophy, there's something in that. Caring about characters, invested in stories, being emotionally present in a wrestling show, that is the experience they're trying to create. But here's what the receipts say this week. WWE opened the curtain with Unreal, which created a named target for creative criticism. Triple H compared fans to NFL coaches while also saying WWE isn't a sport. He said he loves all the passion, then asks fans to redirect it. He said talents get over, then gets pushed, while examples on the roster challenges that timeline. None of this makes Triple H bad at his job. The SummerSlam card this year had some genuine heat. The Lesnar-Oba program delivered. There is good work happening. But if you're going to go on a media tour talking about fan passion, you better be ready for the fans to turn the same passion right back around on the interview. Drop your thoughts in the comments because this one is going to have takes everywhere in the comments. Do you think Triple H is being genuine, or is this a PR spin with a warm smile on it? I want to hear from you guys, so drop it in the comments. And as always, if the tea hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.